How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to go over megavoxel breaking, and we're going to be doing as much of a all-encompassing type video as possible as I can. Last night I did a short tutorial on how to do it, but I wanted to go into a little bit more in depth, and I had some issues with the video, so we're going to go a little bit more into it, and you can see the different variations that I have here. I have a pretty much flat panel one here, it's totally smooth, and then I have this one that has raised surfaces. I have this one that has like a curved surface to it, and I even have this one which is like a reversal of the megavoxel. And then I have pretty much these little panels like this, and I'm going to try to cover over as much of this as I possibly can in this video. Hopefully I won't get sidetracked in the process. But so let's go ahead and get started, and let's go ahead and create a megavoxel so you'll know what we're actually working with here. And basically we take our add tool and create a prime voxel like so, and we're going to lay down another prime voxel back here, and I'm going to use this one to create a microvoxel. And with that, we're going to select this voxel and I'm going to smooth this a few times. We're going to just keep smoothing it down until we get to as small as I want to actually work with. And basically what we're going to end up with is pretty much what we have over here in this back corner here. Now I'm going to go back over to my selection. I'm going to copy that microvoxel, and right here on this voxel here, let's go ahead and paint it so it doesn't contrast with my my floor so bad here. And I'm going to take this microvoxel and I'm going to line this up on the very corners, just the corner pieces, not on the side parts, all the way around the actual voxel. And this is actually going to create the actual megavoxel in the process. It's going to stretch that prime voxel out into the mega size. And this takes a few moments to do. But once we're done, we have a box like so. Now the coolest thing about this is the voxels that are on the sides here and here have also conformed to these microvoxel sides. In other words, this voxel here is literally the width here and here, here and here, all the way around to the same size as this microvoxel. So I can actually come over here, I can grab a putty voxel, and if you're not sure what a putty voxel is, definitely look at the video on putty voxels on YouTube, and it will actually show you how to use it and how to create it and all that. But I have this putty voxel now, and I'm going to paste it right in the very center like so. And if I come over here and I paint that a different color, you can see by putting that putty voxel in there, it conformed to the actual shape of that voxel in that space between the microvoxels. And this is something we're going to be getting to a little bit later. Also, we have this megavoxel now that we can actually work with. So let's go ahead and start stacking this megavoxel into sizes of our bricking for our wall. And basically we just stack it side by side. I put 3, you can put 4, however you want to actually make the size of these bricks that you want to work with here. And then I'm going to double skip 2 voxels over from this outside, and I'm going to paste the next one, so I have that gap in it. I'm going to do this a few times to actually create the wall that we're going to be working with. Do a single, skip 2, 1, 2, 3, skip 2, 1, 2, 3, skip 2. and we go up and basically repeat the process from the first line that we did. Back up. So I have this wall section now that I have created, and the really cool thing about this is we've got our starting point. Now this gap that is actually in between these different blocks are all dictated by this microvoxel and how big this actual microvoxel is. If I took that microvoxel, I could literally paste it right in this little space here, and it would come out perfectly the same thickness, because everything that we're working with here is dictated by that microvoxel. If we wanted to make this gap smaller and literally have it really teeny tiny, we'd go with a smaller microvoxel in the process of actually creating our megavoxel. And this right here also would get thinner in the process, this little voxel that's on the side, because that when that microvoxel gets smaller, so does this panel. So, let's come over here, and you can see that this little section here was actually created with microvoxels. So let's work on that next. And all this will come into play, and it'll make sense once we get it all laid down. But I'm going to take this microvoxel, I'm just basically going to create a framework. I know this is probably hard to see, but once I get it down, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. The voxels that we have laid down already are the blocks themselves are 3 voxels side by side, and then you have a gap, and then it's 3 voxels. But what we're going to do with the framework is we're going to go 5 voxels. So here I've got 2 voxels, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to go up, go back down 1, go back up 2, and then we're going to do the whole 5 thing again, but we're having to repaste back into the corner to straighten up that edge. And I'm pretty sure this is kind of difficult to see on the screen here because of my coloring, but give me a moment now, I'll repaint this. So we have this shaping like this here, and if I took my actual megavoxel from over here, I copy it, if I pasted it up next to it like this, you can see how that voxel actually reacts to that microvoxel that I've pasted down. It is literally a all-encompassing all the way around that block face. So let me come back over here and grab that microvoxel. Actually, we can just use this here to create a framework. So let's copy this, and I'm going to make a basic framework just using this frame here. And I may have to repaste back over when I'm done, and as you can tell, it's creating some funky shapes in there, but that's really not too much of an issue. It's something we can definitely fix pretty easily later on. But I'm basically going to create a mimic of what I have over on the other side there. Like so. Now that I have this point right here, I can start closing in the sides and fixing these this gapping here in the center. So let me copy this, and I'm going to come in and paste a section that I've copied out from the bottom just to make this little framework, like so. So we have this. Now, once I have this section actually completed here, I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to extrude it. In other words, draw it out like this. And I can do that just by pasting another copy of that framework right next to itself there. It'll literally pull out a little bit deeper. So we have this. So between this here and this here, I can create pretty much everything you see here on the board in some form or fashion. Now, the next little thing that we're going to have here is I have that panel, which is this right here. I'm going to copy this, and let's bring it over here to this one panel that we created earlier. And I'm just going to bring this in and paste it into that location that we were dealing with earlier. And you can see now we have like these little flat panels. And I can bring this out and paste it, and it brings like an extruded piece of that. This is these are just different ways of going about making different textures for your walls. And however you want to kind of play with them, you can just sit there and tinker with these different methods to come up with different ways of doing your walls and how you want to kind of make it look for your own build there. And if you give me a moment, I'm going to get this all kind of set up for us, and then we'll move on to the next little piece here. But all these different ways of going about, you know, pretty much like the same type of techniques. It's just, you know, how you want to work with it and how you want to make your particular wall look like. So if you look at it now, you see it's brung it out, so it looks like there's an inset like grouting on this wall now, which I think is a really cool effect. And this actually came about a lot of tinkering between myself and Rave to come up with, you know, all these different ways of doing them. But I'm pretty sure we were not the first ones to play with it and get it done. But this particular one right here, Rave was kind of playing with. Over here, back to the original one that we were working on before with just the regular mega voxels. If I come over and I grab another putty voxel, and in this case I'm going to grab this black. If I bring that putty voxel over here and I start pasting into those gaps that are between the voxels, it does that grouting again, but it's flat with the outside surface. Like so. And you do not have to go with these colors. You can pretty much, you know, make these things look however you want to. It just takes a little bit of patience to get it exactly the way you want it to look. So. And once I get this one filled in, we'll move on to the next little piece. That's actually given some of these bricks some texture, actually making them pop out and looking differently than the way they did originally. And I've got a pretty cool little way of doing that as well. So here is our flat one. This one here is our little raised surface one. And you can see, like over here, I pasted some panels on the outside versus not putting it onto the other. And by doing that, I just took that panel that I created with the putty voxel earlier, and I came over here and just pasted it in. So you can literally have like little raised areas versus other places that aren't raised. So now we have this almost bricking look to it now, and you've got different levels of it. The next little thing is, well, how do we actually give some extra texture to it instead of making it look like the sharp edged all the way around like this? Well, we can actually make all this different. Each one of these bricks I can change individually, and I can do that by using the skeleton key method just by dragging it across, I can bring out certain bricks a little bit further out in the process. And I just drag across it like this. And I don't have to do the whole brick. I can do just part of the brick. So literally you have like these really strange shapes of it where it actually has like curvature in it. And over here I'll do the one in the center. And it gives like a little point, like so. And this one I'll do just on this side here. So we literally start getting some breakup in the actual texturing. And that is another way of actually doing the bricks. The next thing, if I take just this panel that I created and I bring that out, it's already the size and shape that I wanted it for this one over here. Now, say I wanted to bring it out and literally make it look like it's got like a little curved face to it. Take a standard prime voxel, put it up against the face of it, and just click. And we get like this little diamond-esque little pattern to it. And if I grab a hold of that and I copy it, and let's bring it in here, and I'm going to put it on this bottom row. It's already the size and dimensions that I need it, so all I have to do is paste it in. It's just a matter of getting it kind of put where we need it. And it takes a little tinkering and playing with your pointer here. But as you can see, you get like this almost rounded look to it. It's got this really cool round look to it. But between all these different ways of playing with this this texturing, you can come up with some really neat textures, and I have a few of them all over the place here. Some of the things that you can do and different ways of playing with it. Now, with this texture that I created here, there was another effect that kind of came about with it here, and I'm thinking it will work here, so let's try it. I think I've got my, yep, no, it's right. I brought it one voxel out of it, and you can actually see how it kind of just pulled that face out. It looks a lot like this one here, but you're going to have a little bit different grouting than the one before. Just slight little differences in it. Just a different way of doing it. But those are just, you know, several different ways of kind of playing with it, and you can mix and match and kind of play with it. But you can see some of the stuff that we kind of came up with just tinkering around with it. And as I said before, that thickness of the grouting area, and the grouting area is these lines all the way across here and here and here. All these lines in between the megavoxels are all dictated by the size of that microvoxel that you use to create this megavoxel and the little voxel beside it. Now, if you don't have putty, there is another way of actually doing this type of a formation, and that is actually just putting two voxels side by side, like this, and like this, and I'm going to paint one so you can see the differences as I paste these microvoxels down. And I'm going to grab a microvoxel off the board here. And I'm going to focus on this voxel here as the one that I'm going to manipulate. So I'm going to paste in the corners of that one voxel. And as you can see here, the outside voxel is conforming to that shape that we were playing with earlier. Just like this here, except this one's a little thinner. And as I said, you can take this one and mix and match with other shapes, and you're going to get a different thickness. And as you can, if I can get my camera right here, you can see the grouting line here versus here. This one's a little bit thinner. Let me paste one just above that, and you'll see the thickness change on it. So instead of being this thick, it's now this thin. And that's how you can kind of control how thick that grouting is, all by the shape and size of the microvoxel that you use to actually create that megavoxel with. And you can just kind of play with it. And with that, that's just kind of like the breakdown on how to actually do all these things. Over here you can see where I've got this particular board, and I've basically taken one of my wall textures and I've implanted it into a wall. And right here, if I take my delete tool, now remember these raised surfaces here are actually outside voxels. They're not part of the actual megavoxel themselves. So I can literally come in here and I can delete out a few of them, and it does some kind of weird little shaping in there, and I can paint that to the rest of the wall just to give it, you know, like missing bricks and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of going in there and kind of deleting out some of that stuff. Over here you can see where this is one of the flat-faced ones where it's like totally thin, but if I wanted to raise up certain parts, I could do that by just kind of playing around with the different little texturing in here. But I came in and actually used a earth tone around the outside edges, all the way around here and all the way around through here, to kind of give it like a blending effect from like a distance. And you can see I kind of used it on this tower section that was part of my Dark Elf build. And from a distance it gives it that brick look, and I kind of tried to blend it in to make it look like it was falling apart and all kind of eroding. But it's all up to your imagination how you want to kind of play with it, and I hope that kind of helps somebody, and I'd love to see what you do with it. And I'll see you next time.